about to be joined by our final coach and the dean of the SEC coach. I mean, speaking of never thinking that, I mean, there was always somebody older and much older, I should say.
Yeah.
What does that feel like?
Feel old. Save the best for last, though, Paul, right?
I like that.
Yeah, so, no, it's
I don't think
good.
we've ever been here at media and not spoken to you because, I mean, some are in the morning, some but.
Right. Yeah, it does seem like we always connect, but that's a good thing. And, you know, it's you and I were just talking off air, but I imagine every coach has said this at some point when you get here, but you know, we have limited time. We enjoy our time, you know, what little time we get off in the summer. But once we get here, it really does dial us all in. It's like our internal clock. And, of course, you got to be prepared for this. But, you know, it's time to go, and you're ready to go back to work. And so it's exciting times.
One of the guests earlier was commenting that and I realize, I mean, you have ancillary staff, and they probably go over a couple of things with you like anybody who's appearing in the public. But do you think it's a concerted effort by coaches to come here and not say anything that will go crazy? Not that you're the guy that does it, but because you've always been you talk substantively versus crazily.
I do. I just try to, you know, answer the questions honestly, but, you know, walk a pretty tight line, you know, and I think, you know, most of us have to be, because a lot of times, you know, you get when you're just talking freely and having fun, it ultimately eventually it's come back and bite you in the butt.
But you are a guy that likes to have fun, though.
Absolutely, and I want to give a good interview and give honest answers and have a little fun, and you know, I've been doing it a long time, and you know, this has been a great day, and but you know, ultimately, unfortunately, if you loosen up too much, it's going to come back and bite you, because you could say something tongue-in-cheek and it just gets totally misconstrued. You understand that. That's how it goes sometimes. But, you know, again, this is very successful. It's really kind of cool for me to be in Texas, you know, with my history with Oklahoma, of course, and then, you know, and I even am close to the people at Texas. You know, Chris Del Conte, the AD, and I go way back, and, you know, I'm friends with Sark, and so – and you know, I'm really close to Oklahoma, so it was kind of interesting going to the SEC media or the SEC spring meetings and being so familiar with those two schools and knowing so many people, and it was a lot of fun. And you know, the coaches here, I love the coaches in our league now, a bunch of good coaches, and people aren't interested in going backwards, so. You know, pretty good deal, pretty good league.
Not to go backwards, and I'll move on as soon as I say this, but you said Texas. I mean, you were aggressively pursued by a Texas school not that long ago.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, you know, that became very public, but I mean, it wasn't the first time. I mean, you know,
your name has been linked.
Yeah, it's been linked, and you know, they aggressively pursued me, and you know, and that's it. I mean, out of respect for everybody, you don't really want to comment on it any more than that. And you know, I am.
But that is better though than maybe the second or third year when we were talking, and you weren't sure what the future looked like.
Doubt. Nobody knew I'd be here 12 years. I'm very grateful. You know, and I was saying this earlier, and Tony gives me some good insight and some information. But I mean, there's only been 19 coaches in the history of this league that stayed 12 years.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and obviously Coach Saban was 18.
There's some pretty good names on that list.
Well, I'm proud to be a part of that, and I'm proud to be at Kentucky. I think I've told you this before, and it's true. I feel like I'm a very good fit there. I feel like, you know, I really like it there. I feel like I'm well received. That doesn't mean everybody's always going to like it. It's a problem. It's a hard job. But I embrace it, and I'm grateful to be there.
And we've had this conversation a couple of times, but I was in Lexington twice last year for a huge game, Florida and Alabama, and I don't think enough people appreciate what great fans that you have there.
Absolutely, it's a great venue now. It's, you know, much like the rest of the league, a very difficult venue for teams to come into and play well, and we have to do our part and put a good team out there, and the fan base has been very supportive. So it's, you know, it's, as I mentioned before, it's just been a good marriage. It's been a lot of fun, and we want more. You know, I want to continue to grow. You know, I don't take that lightly. It's just like, you know, there's only 2 schools in this league and we'd be the 3rd that have played in 8 straight bowl games.
That's interesting.
You know, so it's not like some good institutions have had some ups and downs.
Right.
Now, I'm not exactly content with just being average and being okay in going the game. I mean, you know, it's 2 years in a row I come here and I sit here and it's like I get a little bit pissed because it's like, what if, you know what I mean? And like, because there's, you know, you got to find a way to make those plays to go back to winning 8, 9, 10 games, you know, and playing on New Year's Day and being in that picture. And like, so I'm not, you know, albeit it's not nothing. I mean, we're doing something, but, you know, we've had great consistency, but we want more. I'm not interested in just existing at Kentucky.
But what impresses me, and again, I've been to Lexington a number of times, but when you're someplace twice in a couple of weeks, you really get the feel of it. And I got to talk to, obviously, Mitch Barnhart and Dr. Capilouto. And I know this was the case because I was in Norman recently, but when your brother was making his run at Oklahoma, you had the same AD, the same president, and same coach for about 20 years.
Exactly.
That really matters.
Yeah, it absolutely does matter, and it's really helped us at Kentucky. You know, somebody asked me earlier the sustained success, how, you know, and that's the first thing that you have to say. You have to have great support. You cannot do it alone. You know, you have to have a great administration that supports you at every turn, and I've been blessed, you know, to have that, and we've had stability and continuity. That doesn't mean everything. I'm sure I drive my AD nuts because I'm not.
Well,
I'm not interested in just existing. I want to go. I want to go further. But no, it's been really good, and we may agree to disagree at times, but at the end of the day, we're united, and it's really helped. And I've had great support, and you know, we need to continue to do that because again, as I mentioned, I just, you know, one thing, you know, with the changes and with what we're dealing with now, you know, something that was added to my plate is fundraiser now, you know, and that distracts me from my players, and that probably is the biggest aggravation, you know, that the players deserve what they deserve, and I love it, and I go to work for them. But, you know, that's something that, you know, if any of the rule, you know, changes, it's like I have to do that.
On that side, because I mean, you come from a football family. I mean, I think it's a compliment when somebody describes you as an old school, hard-nosed football coach. But you know, adapting is one thing. But I mean, I don't know very much. But I mean, I'm just picking up anecdotal stories. You live it.
Yeah, it is, and you know, adapting. We have to adapt. You know, I said that a year ago. You're gonna either adapt or you're gonna be irrelevant. You know, so we better do what we have to do, and that's what I said. Like right now, it's like you either exist, you exit, you leave and say goodbye, or you find a way to explore your options to get better. You know, and I feel like we need to take advantage of that and find a way to close the gap to get to that next level that I've been hunting and working and striving for. You know, and that's what I want to be. That's where I want to take the program, and that could lead to some, you know, stress and aggravation in a different way that I've never had to endure before. You know, the job is stressful enough, you know, but making payroll is another stressful situation.
Finally, I mean, I can't believe we're this at the end of the interview without asking you, but I've heard you talk about your football team, and not to put words in your mouth, but you do seem like you really like this bunch.
Well, without a doubt, it's a very good group. They've been working hard. I feel like we got a good mixture of guys with experience, some young, talented guys. You know, we have Brock Vanderbilt, the Georgia transfer. You know, Gavin Wimsett transferred from Rutgers, but both of those guys. But Brock is a guy that looked really good in the spring. Oh, yeah. When I watched him at Georgia, you saw the way he processed things, the way he handled things. Obviously, he didn't have to. You know, he didn't get many reps, you know, when the game was on the line, but they beat a lot of people by a lot of points. So you got to see him and see the way he handled himself, and I like the way he's operating. Well, Coach, it is always just a tremendous pleasure to spend time with you. And, thank you, Paul. Thanks for everything and hanging with me. I think we're the last Ben standing here. We're going to wrap it up. You probably have some more work to do, but it's a wrap for me. My job has gotten easier in the last few minutes with you and the commissioner coming up. I have nothing to do but just listen and try to learn. Thank you, Coach. See you soon. Thank you.